All right, everyone. Yesterday, Vice News made an article, and actually it was about Gab's Dissenter, and it was very funny to read. It's like they're freaking out totally over this new extension. For those that don't know, if you have a Gab account, and by the way, Gab is now open again. You don't need an invite code. You can sign up. You should all get an account. I believe that Dissenter has the capability of becoming one of the next big things in tech. What it does essentially is it overlaps through Dissenter itself. You can register a URL on this extension. It'll become part of that network. Any URL you want. It's a CNN article that has no comments, a YouTube video that's got comments disabled, or anything else. If you have a Gab account, you can then comment on it. And what this allows, what this does is it extends over the entire internet potentially. If enough people begin using it and enough URLs are stored, it's essentially like an archive sort of commenting system for those sites. And by the way, it's not fully live now. It's only in day 3 of its existence, really, in beta. So it's still a work in progress, but it's fairly good. I think they've added Pale Moon as a browser, so I'll be doing that. So, you know, the on the actual site sort of function is lower. You got to get the extension and sort of use that. What it allows is Gab users to circumvent censorship on any website. They can comment on anything. One of the big problems that we've had over the last couple of years is that a lot of groups, in order to appease advertisers, number one, they get toxic comments on there. They can't moderate it all. They don't want to deploy bots because that becomes unpopular, so they just shut down comments. Or you see a selective use of that, like some news story that might draw edgy troll comments. Oh my God, we got to stop that. CNN will shut its comments off. Fox has done this. CNBC. All of these groups have basically begun disabling comment functionality on some or all of their stories. You see it happening on YouTube, especially now that YouTube's made it clear if the comments are too toxic or something, we might randomly shut your comments off. Well, now it won't matter if people just start using Gab. And Gab is just as functional as Twitter anyway. Look, there's a reason that Gab is taking so much flack from groups like the SPLC, Right Wing Watch, the Will Sommers, the propagandists of the further left. They always cast it off as far right, and what's been made clear over and over is it wouldn't be on the right if people on the left would use the platform. They've chosen not to because they fell into the echo chamber trap of presuming that it was, you know, extreme far right, religious people. When I first got to Gab, I didn't really notice in the like the alt-right or the trad right sense, not much. It was more like religious right wing. But like the thing is, like, you know, I remember when Right Wing Watch was kind of funny because that was their primary focus years ago. It was mostly like Pat, what's his name? Fucking, yeah, is it Pat Robertson or whatever? Some of those televangelists and the religious con artists and stuff like that. And it was funny. I remember, like, we're talking quite a while ago, like more than half a decade. We're talking Obama era, and it was funny and it was informative, and it's funny to get a chuckle at people who, you know, want Jesus to be the vice president. Now their big concern is, oh my God, online, nasty comments online, YouTubers and shit like that comes home to roost. And it's like, you know, you're completely wrong. It's propaganda. And a lot of times when you have these propagandistic hit pieces, which are made, they have comments off because they don't want to be refuted by people who actually know what they're talking about. With Dissenter, they can't stop you because it's not their own comments. It's Gab's comments. I love the idea, and they're growing quickly already. It's very. I think that Dissenter has the ability to grow bigger than Gab. They should have uncoupled it and made it a semi-separate service. Like, you can get on it with your Gab account, but you can also register just an email or something like that. Should have done that. Your WordPress account or something. They should give multiple venues. I know other commenting sections that have existed throughout the internet span have done that. Gab is missing out on a potential large market of people who are simply, and I know this isn't real, like they think that Gab is a Nazi site, so they don't want to sign up even if they like the idea of Dissenter. They hear on some tech news, oh, Dissenter, oh, comment anywhere, oh, I have to get a Gab account. That's that Nazi site. I strongly suggest that they attempt to slightly differentiate, allow people to sign up using other services if that's even possible. They would grow larger. Dissenter has the ability potentially to become bigger than Gab if they did that. It could become a mainline, very, very powerful tech force. And it'd be a force for good because, you know, they're not policing comments for, oh my God, you said the F word. Oh, shit, that's terrible. Oh my God, you expressed a political opinion that could be considered wrongthink by some Silicon Valley billionaire or someone working at Facebook. Oh my God, what a terrible time. I strongly support it. And then looking at the Vice article, it's like the reason why they're anxious about it. They're afraid it'll take off. They're afraid Gab will take off because then it's basically the Twitter side of the internet would no longer be in the control of the MSM because Gab has refused to deplatform people for for most intents and purposes. Doesn't engage in that, doesn't care what you say unless it's like, you know, certain stuff that's really out there, that like what is it, cartoon characters of children and stuff. And so they're afraid of Gab, but they're even more afraid of Dissenter. I mean, they didn't even wait 3 days before writing their hit piece. Oh my God, it allows far-right Gab users to comment on anything online. Oh, it's the end of the world. No, it's because Vice wants to control the commentary around its own news stories. It wants to shut down as much commentary as possible unless it is positive towards what Vice does. So when people on Gab are like, well, this is propaganda, they start sharing it out, they start using this other application to comment because Vice closes its comments or moderates them heavily for everything under the sun, it makes it inconvenient for them. So yeah, the MSM is terrified of Gab right now. They're also terrified of BitChute and Minds. They're probably pretty scared of Subscribestar because they didn't manage to deplatform them. It's still operating. Yeah, you should join me on Subscribestar, by the way. A lot of people stopped using Patreon in the wake of their apocalyptic banning of Sargon. And I think Rubin and Peterson and some of these others have left, and others as well. It's just like left a gaping hole in the platform. It's like alt tech is the place to be. I'm very glad that I started using these sites early. I wish I had gotten on them like Minds and Gab even earlier. Like I got on BitChute like, you know, pretty early on, but Gab I think had been around for a year or more, and then Minds had been around for like 2 or 3 years before I joined them. I wish that I had joined them day one. And so now whenever I see something innovative like Dissenter, I sign up as soon as possible because I know that it's potentially the next big thing. For content creators, you're crazy if you're not using these services. You don't have to pay anything for them. I mean, what fucking detriment does it have in your life? It's all positive. That's about all. Peace out.